Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. This happened many years ago, in the late 1980s. I was much younger, and for a short period of time, I hitchhiked quite a lot. I did it without any problems, really. I didn't have much money back then, and I obviously had no car. I moved around a lot and often took buses, but when no buses were available, I had to hitchhike. One night, I was trying to get to a city about 20 minutes away. I knew roughly where it was, so I decided to hitchhike. I stood on the side of a busy road. It was nighttime, and I had just finished working a temporary job. After about 10 minutes, with most cars passing by, one finally stopped. A man was behind the wheel. He rolled down the passenger side window and asked where I was going. I told him, and he told me to hop in. I got into what seemed like a pretty standard sedan for that time period, and we set off. At first, everything was normal. We made brief small talk, though I don't really remember the details. Then, things got quiet for a while. After about 10 or 15 minutes of driving, the man suddenly turned off the road. I was pretty sure it was supposed to be a straight shot to my destination, so I had no idea why he would turn. After driving down this random road for a while, I asked him where we were going. He turned onto another back road and simply said he had to stop somewhere first. When I asked where, he refused to answer. That's when I started to feel uneasy. He kept driving through these random back roads, and soon enough, he turned onto a completely dirt road. It was eerily quiet, seemingly in the middle of nowhere. I asked him again where we were going, but this time, he just said, "You'll see." The moment he said that, I felt a terrible sense of dread. I desperately wanted to get out of the car. After a while, he turned again, this time onto a long, narrow driveway. I couldn't even see a house, just a path leading into the darkness. When he slowed down to make the turn, I seized my chance. I threw open the door, jumped out, and rolled onto the grass beside the trees. Luckily, I wasn't hurt. I saw the car brake on the gravel driveway in front of me. Without wasting a second, I scrambled to my feet and took off running in the opposite direction. I reached the end of the driveway and ran across the dirt road into the woods. It was pitch dark, with no street lights. The forest was dense, but I kept moving. For a while, I could hear his car in the distance, likely searching for me. I didn't stop. I ran as deep as I could into the woods and eventually came across another road, possibly the same one, I wasn't sure. I walked alongside it for a long time, ready to run back into the trees if I saw his car. Fortunately, I never did. After what felt like forever, I reached another road and spotted a gas station. Thankfully, it was open. I went inside and asked where the nearest town was. The clerk told me it was just a mile up the road and that there was a motel where I could stay. I walked there and stayed the night. I've never forgotten that night. Even now, I remember it clearly. I don't know what that man had planned, but I'm glad I got away. A group of friends and I took a vacation to France to enjoy the sights and party a bit. The hotel we were staying in for a couple of nights was fairly nice. We were quite happy with it for the price we had paid. It wasn't super luxurious or high class, but it had some amenities and was very decent. On the last night of our trip, we went out as a group to party and have a good time. We arrived back at the hotel quite late, but since it was our final night, we stayed up, talking in the hotel room and drinking a little more. Suddenly, there was a loud banging at the door. We all went quiet. One of my friends looked through the peephole into the hallway but didn't see anything. We realized we had been pretty loud, maybe another guest was fed up and wanted us to quiet down. It was close to 3 a.m., so we lowered our voices and started getting ready for bed. 5 minutes later, the knocking returned. This time, we were sure we weren't being too loud. My friend checked the peephole again, and this time, a man was standing outside our door. We all took turns looking. He just stood there, waiting for us to open up. Then, he knocked again. My friend Audrey spoke to him without opening the door. "Can we help you, sir?" He immediately responded, claiming that he had found a wallet that one of us had dropped at the club earlier that night. We frantically searched our belongings, checking to see if any of us were missing a wallet. After a short search, we all stared at each other in confusion. Not a single one of us was missing anything, not a wallet, not an ID, nothing. I watched through the peephole as Audrey told the man, "We're not missing anything. It must belong to someone else." The man didn't move. He just stood there, frozen outside our door. Then, he knocked 2 more times over the next few minutes. At that point, we called the hotel's front desk and asked them to deal with the man. Clearly, he did not have any of our wallets. 2 staff members came up to our room and tried to escort him out of the building. But all of a sudden, the man burst into an angry rage and started fighting them. He squared up and threw multiple punches at the staff before being taken to the ground by the 2 workers. Eventually, law enforcement arrived and took the man away. It was unsettling to realize that this guy had been watching us the whole night, following us from the club all the way back to our hotel room. A couple of years ago, I was home alone one night. It had been a long day at work, and I was happy to be back. I was renting a small house, having moved there because of my job. That night, I ordered a pizza online for delivery. After a while, the doorbell rang. I knew it had to be the pizza. I went to the front door and opened it. A man stood there, holding my order. I took the pizza from him, gave him his tip, and was about to close the door when he suddenly asked if he could come inside to use my restroom. I don't know why, but I said yes. In that moment, I didn't want to say yes. I didn't want a stranger in my house, and obviously, I shouldn't have let him in. I really don't have an excuse or explanation, it was just a split-second reaction. The guy didn't seem strange or threatening at first, so I told him the bathroom was just down the hall to the left. The house was small, and it was easy to find everything. He went down the hall and into the bathroom. I felt a little nervous because I didn't know him at all, but he genuinely seemed like he needed to go. Less than a minute later, he walked back to the front door and left. After that, I didn't think much of it. I sat down, ate my pizza, and relaxed for the rest of the night. Hours later, around midnight, there was a knock at my front door. I had no idea who it could be at that hour. I walked to the door and looked through the window, only to see the same pizza delivery guy from earlier. Except this time, he wasn't wearing his uniform. The moment he saw me looking at him, I felt like I had to answer. I cracked the door open, curious about why he was there. He told me he had just gotten off work and realized he had dropped his wallet inside my house. As soon as he said that, I felt suspicious. I had been home for hours, and I hadn't seen any wallet. I'd even been to the bathroom since he left, and there was nothing there. I was sure of it. I told him I didn't think his wallet was inside, but I could take a quick look if he wanted. He immediately refused. "No," he said. "I know exactly where it is. I know it's inside." At that point, I started trying to get him to leave. But before I could do anything, he suddenly barged past me into my house. He said he'd only be a second. I stood there, stunned, watching as he walked toward the hallway. But instead of going to the bathroom, he went straight into my bedroom, right across from it. Then he closed the door. I heard the lock click. I walked toward the door, confused. "That's not the bathroom," I said. No response. By now, I had a really bad feeling. I had no idea what he was doing, and I didn't want to find out. I called out to him several more times, but he still didn't answer. After a few minutes of growing panic, I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. I explained the situation and waited by the front door. I didn't want to go anywhere near my bedroom. The man never made a sound. The police arrived quickly. I met them outside and told them everything. They went in, and after some time, they came out with him in custody. He had been hiding in my bedroom, refusing to leave. To this day, I have no idea what he was planning. I'm just glad I called the police. I'm also sure he got fired from the pizza place after that. But even now, I still haven't ordered from there since. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.